It's the first game recap we've had in a while. We'll talk about the Charlotte Hornets' first preseason game. Yeah, it's a loss to the Thunder, but Kon Knueppel, he balled out. We'll get to all of it today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods, and that includes YouTube. There's Doug Branson. You can follow him on his Substack, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also check out the show he produces, Yahoo Sports Daily, with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m., 92.7 FM, where we'll be talking about a Panthers win, and we'll be talking about a Panthers win that Eric Collins called. How about a shout out to our guy? What a great – I love that not only was Eric Collins on the call, but you knew he was going to become even more of a national treasure than he already was. What was great, I don't know if you noticed this, but just scrolling through your Twitter timeline, watching all of the NFL pundits, NFL personalities come together and say, who is this guy calling the game for Carolina? He's incredible. Like I would say 99% of the people that commented on Eric Collins loved him. Mark Schlereth, his color analyst, might be in the 1% that wasn't picking up everything Eric Collins was putting down. Quite an interesting dynamic. I want to talk more Eric Collins, but we need to save most of the show for the preseason game one recap. But I want to let you know my Eric Collins thoughts real quickly. Did also want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, the Hornets lost the first preseason game, 135-114. Starters didn't play a ton. They did play a little bit, about 15 minutes or so for a lot of the starters, except for Kon. Kon Knueppel ended up starting this game. One of the storylines to watch for. So it was LaMelo Ball. It was Brandon Miller. Kon Knueppel getting the start over guys like Collin Sexton and Tre Mann. Miles Bridges started. And Moussa Diabate got the start at center over Ryan Kalkbrenner and also over Mason Plumlee. But Mason Plumlee, he has not been in camp. He's not been with the team for a while because of a personal matter. So if anybody thinks that this answers the who is going to start the first regular season game question, I would say not so fast on that. We still don't know. You know, you can do your victory lap. You can do your yeah, there's the QB kneel right there. So anyways, interesting starting lineup, but Kon gets the start. He leads the team in points scored, 18 points in this game for Kon Knueppel, Doug. 6 of 13 shooting, 4 of 10 from 3-point range. I think that's where we start. It's the fourth overall selection coming out and looking pretty damn good, both floor game and leading all of the Hornets in scoring. Your thoughts on Kon and the game overall?
Yeah, you can't start a preseason. We will not. You can, but we will not start a preseason game talking about win-loss, final score. That is just not what the preseason is about. It's about digging down into some of these individual performances and trying to make some kind of sense of it, and still having the caveat of, hey, there's double caveats, right? I think for rookies, the caveat is they are getting accustomed to NBA action. And then for veterans, if they have an off shooting night or something like that, particularly early in the preseason, you have to look at preseason as a way for these guys to get into game shape, to work themselves and get themselves ready for regular season game number one. Now, obviously, like Charles Lee probably wanted a little bit of a more competitive effort against OKC, particularly from the starters, but I wouldn't put that on Kon Knueppel, who did look... He got off to a little bit of a slow start. It's very similar, I think, to Summer League, but then he quickly found a groove and was able to use... I think I saw somebody on X call him Little Fundamental, like he was using that footwork, the timing, and it's really funny. I wrote this in the box score article that's going to go live here in a minute. It's funny to you remember the up and under that he had? He had a little ball fake, and then he goes to an up and under for a layup, I believe, on the left side. Contrast that play with what we saw, I don't know if you saw this or not, Walker, VJ Edgecombe in Dubai playing for the 76ers had an absolute monster jam. Just got a good takeoff and just threw it down. I think he jumped like 12 feet in the air and landed and crushed the ball. You put those two things side by side, very different plays, but guess what? They both count for 2 points. And I liked what I saw at Kon Knueppel. Obviously, I thought good effort on defense. He's got some adjustments to make. There were some real communication issues. There was one play with Liam McNeely where they just got completely caught up with each other. There was another one with Kalkbrenner where they both ran after the same guy. So there's all this like rookie stuff where rookies are playing with rookies. But I just thought 18 points. I'll throw it back to you, Walker. I don't know if you felt this way, but I was surprised by just how aggressive he was offensively. I thought he would be playing more to facilitate LaMelo and Brandon, but he was looking for a shot.
Yeah, I think a lot of that came because of the design, especially with the guys around him in that starting lineup, not playing too many minutes, right? Again, if you look at the minutes output, it was Musa 13, Brandon 16, Miles 16, Melo 15. Then the guys that led the team in run, it was Kon Knueppel, a first-round pick, Tidjane Salaun, a first-round pick, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, a second-round pick, but somebody you're going to have to depend a lot on because they wanted to get those younger guys a lot of minutes. I thought when he was aggressive, I thought it was in the right spots. I don't think that he was forcing anything, which is not his game at all. He's not going to go out there and try to throw up a whole bunch of shots that you wouldn't ask him to take. Any shot he puts up, it's a good one for the most part. Yeah, my thoughts from Kon are, so I want to go back to the starting lineup and kind of start there with my thoughts on Kon's game overall. When I asked Charles Lee about his philosophy on the starting five, he didn't give me a detailed answer. He basically gave me the best five. But what he talked about was the guys that pair up with one another nicely, and then we'll see what kind of chemistry everybody develops with one another off of the bench too. And I think it's a simple answer when asking who should start of who complements Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball the best right now. And it's why it makes a lot of sense if you put Kon in the starting lineup right away. Doug, I think it would be less about he was drafted 4th overall. You got to play that guy. I think it's less about that and more about he is a connector, classic term. He is a complementary basketball player to LaMelo and Brandon. And if you put him out there on the corner, which happened quite a few times, it's a very different element you provide. With Kon Knueppel, able to attack closeouts, 0 turnovers in this game, by the way, for Kon, not small. And somebody that can shoot and bring that gravity towards him. It opened up plays for Miles Bridges, who actually, he and LaMelo had a screen action. Miles got the mismatch on Topic, and there's Kon just hanging out in the corner. So Miles has all this space to operate with. And if you kick it out to him, he's going to attack rather than shoot like Josh Green or pass like Josh Green. Hey, anything else? I'm good, dog. Like, this is all I'm going to do. Kon can do a whole bunch of other stuff and just be sticky. Those corners, they got to keep their eye out on the guy in the corner. So the cornerbacks, if you will. So yeah, man, it flows. It works. All of it. It just works. And I think that's why Kon Knueppel started, and you could see it already pay dividends in preseason game number 1.
No, yeah, if you're coming to this podcast episode for some top-line stuff and you're looking forward on Kon Knueppel, I think it's really simple. Like, he looked good. He looked comfortable. He looked fine. He looked really good in spots. And he could start for the Charlotte Hornets. And, I mean, that's all you really want from a top 5 overall pick, right? You want somebody that looks comfortable in his first set of game action, even if you throw in the context of they were playing Oklahoma City in North Charleston, and Oklahoma City didn't bring any of their top starters because they're playing 6 preseason games. So it was against essentially the B team and then later the C team. But I want to go back to what he did in the first half when he played less minutes than LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges and Collin Sexton. And yet, Kon Knueppel in that first half taking 7 shot attempts, which equaled LaMelo Ball, which equaled Tre Mann. The only player who took more shot attempts in the first half was Brandon Miller. And so I do think he was even aggressive in the moments when he was with the starting unit. And he did hit a few shots, and you're right, he didn't turn it over. He was one of only 3 players in the first half that didn't turn it over, and turnovers were one of my big stories in the first half, and why they weren't able to beat a B team Oklahoma City squad is because everybody else was turning the basketball over and being a little careless with it. But Kon Knueppel, and he wasn't doing that because he was only catching and shooting, right? He was active on the dribble and able to maintain it. And that's, it was great to see.
I think last thing, I always go back to PJ Washington's preseason as a rookie. And I think it was the time when we all kind of shifted just a little bit on, oh, he's going to help us right away. That's what's happening. Cool. Okay, I'm all in. When it was somewhat of a boring pick, there were certainly more wow picks that you could have made when you selected PJ. I think the same thing applies here with Kon. I think you have such a grown-up game with Kon, who constantly makes the right decision and can shoot. And I think he just brings a lot of elements to the table that some of these other guys don't have, but also he's just so damn malleable. I just don't know what offensive system you want to put him in that he couldn't adapt to. And right away, that's why it would make sense to have Tre Mann and Collin Sexton come off of the bench. If you were so hell-bent on improving your defense, maybe you would go with Josh Green. But also, like, it was a fun team. Like, I don't know about you. I had fun watching this offense and a bunch of guys, like, put the ball on the deck and hit threes. LaMelo was fun in this one with the one-footed step backs, which he shot so comfortably. Like, we can get more into it. But I think Kon is a big reason into why that's unlocked. Like, just the kind of headiness that he plays with.
So you're confident that Kon Knueppel could start for the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not sure Charles Lee is, though. I've got a quote for you post-game on the other side. And
let's dive into it. Yeah, let's dive into it, because I did take away a decent amount from him starting. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
We'll get to Charles Lee's comments after the game and dive into some of our other observations in preseason game number 1 against OKC. That's coming up next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. You love how Peloton IQ system, it offers real-time strength coaching, and it actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and making every rep smarter. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat, and the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level every week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. More Locked On Hornets ahead. I did not check out some of the quotes after the game. I was too busy in Panthers land, which was nice that they got a victory. What were some of the comments coming in?
We got this from Rod Boone on X, the Charlotte Observer beat writer. He said he asked Charles Lee about starting Kon Knueppel, and Charles Lee said he told Collin Sexton, and Tre Mann to all be ready because it could depend on nightly matchups. So it sounds like that starting spot could be fluid for a while.
Yeah, I'll ask you, because you know my thoughts on Kon starting and how it looked and how it might look, because we did get Tre Mann LaMelo minutes. I mean, we got Collin Sexton and Tre Mann minutes, so you're going to experiment with those backcourt players. There's plenty of permutations you can roll with. What did you make of that comment from Charles Lee?
I think it's smart to leave your options open at this point. I don't think it's a reflection. Well, it's a reflection of Kon Knueppel being a rookie, and you have some veterans that you can, put in and out and get fluid with the matchups. I don't think that's a problem, particularly when, I just think you got to leave yourself open for experimentation when you're coming off a 19-win season and just figuring out. And you've introduced a lot of different players. This is not. They've got a lot to figure out in the preseason, and I think even extending into the regular season, and it's beyond just the center position. And so I think Charles Lee maybe more than anyone on this team, has their work cut out for them, just trying to figure out how to put the pieces together on a nightly basis to get wins, because this is not a team where I look at it and go, yeah, there's an obvious starting five that you play a lot and you stick with. No, I think it's going to be a challenge for Lee.
I don't think that he would have started the guys that he did if they weren't high up in their specific hierarchy, right?
Sure.
I think if we don't know if Kon's going to start, but I think that might have to do a little bit more with Josh Green than it does with Collin Sexton or Tre Mann, at least within the first 20 game sample. We can't answer that with Musa. Even if Musa started over Kalkbrenner, I think you can take something away there, but you can't take anything away because Mason Plumlee isn't back with the roster. So Mason still has a absolute possibility of starting, maybe even a probability. But it just does seem to me where, for instance, I guess the reason I'm focusing on this so much is because I had been singing the tune of just because Kon is a 4th overall pick, guys, it does not mean he's automatically going to get a starting spot. Brandon Miller did not start automatically, and that was a team that also wasn't amazing. They had more talent probably. Well, and the Hornets got more talent. So just because he was a top 5 pick doesn't mean he's going to start. But I guess what I didn't think of, Doug, is what if he just makes the most sense even as a rookie right away, despite having other really good players on your team in Collin Sexton and Tre Mann, who we've hypothesized could be top 10 and 6 man of the year voting this year on the same squad. So, yeah, it just makes more sense because you want to emphasize LaMelo and Brandon's skill set. And that's actually not even my takeaway. It's Charles Lee's takeaway. It's Jeff Peterson. It's what they were preaching. We want to maximize the skill sets of our pillars. And if you do that, your pillars are, again, LaMelo and Brandon. And I think Kon probably does that the best out of the guys that you could put in the backcourt. Anyway, I just thought that was a big takeaway from preseason game number 1.
He's a pillar filler. You don't want a pillar killer. You want a pillar filler.
I love it. I really do. I wish I didn't love it as much, but I think you summed it up really nicely. Okay, starting center. Maybe we move to the 5 spot because I don't know, man. Did you want to focus on LaMelo? Like, he was awesome. Like, just fun basketball player. Like, just one-legged step backs. He does look stronger. I feel like I can tell the difference in how much bigger he looks. I don't know. You're giving me some weird looks. So, what are your thoughts?
I think he looks bigger. We didn't see him drive to the basket a lot. This was a strange game for LaMelo because, not a strange game. I would say it's a perfect preseason game number 1. He got out there, he shot some threes, he's getting his legs under him. I would say the same thing for Brandon Miller, who struggled from the field, looked mad at himself at times. He didn't have a great game, but I think both of those guys are getting their legs under them and getting ready to really explode as we close in on the regular season. So, I just want to thank LaMelo for putting those highlight plays together because it obscures the fact that they gave up 135 points to the Oklahoma City scattered showers. It wasn't even the Thunder, no SGA, no J-Dub. No, it was nothing. And they could not hold that team that was headlined by Aaron Wiggins and Chris Youngblood. They couldn't hold those guys to under 30 points. And I'll say, if you want to critique LaMelo a little bit, that he was part of that. He was part of the starting lineup that had a pace of 112.6. So they were executing we're going to go as fast as possible that Charles Lee has been preaching since media day. But the defensive rating was 164.7. They could not stop anything. They were getting back cut to death. They were getting hit at the rim to death. It was bad.
Oh, 164. Is that good, Doug? 164?
No, they were -8. The offensive rating was 125. You're right. It looked fun on offense for both teams because the Hornets could not stop them at all.
I hope that was a given when I said that in the first segment because it clearly wasn't all that fun defensively. But I also got a lot of what I expected. Maybe I expected a better defensive output with the guys that OKC was playing because you are right to call them the scattered showers. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, he was somebody that was destroying us, going 5 of 8 from 3 because of the defensive mantra of keep everything in front. We don't want to give a whole bunch of shots in the paint, except Jalen Williams is shooting a bunch of threes. And also, they kind of got some shots off in the paint also, shooting 53.2% from the field and shooting 41% from 3 on 49 attempts, by the way, from OKC and 51 from the Hornets. They were letting these things fly. They were letting the shots fly all over the place. This was defense optional, even from OKC in a lot of the moments here too.
Yeah, I would say Kalkbrenner took that mantra and stretched it to its extremes. He was like, I'm going to keep you in front by being 12 feet away from you at all times. And these were guys, and look, OKC is littered with players that can just randomly shoot threes and some that don't randomly shoot threes. They just shoot threes. And Jalen Williams and Carlson, it's on the scouting report. You and Kalkbrenner just could either was not willing because he felt like he was going to get beat off the dribble or just couldn't recover. Maybe we talk about that a little bit in the next segment, just for maybe a rookie rundown in general. But I didn't think it was. I'll just say, like, if you went into this game trying to evaluate Ryan Kalkbrenner's percentage chance of starting game one, I would say this was not a great game in favor of that.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen. We saw that in Summer League. We saw that in the first preseason game. He was getting a lot of hype and what he was doing in training camp down in Charleston, and I think that's all fair. I think also they're talking a lot about Kalkbrenner because beat reporters like Rod Boone, I think they're asking about Kalkbrenner because he is an interesting player. We hear about him elsewhere, and I think that's why he probably had a decent amount of buzz on your social media feed. So any other thoughts before we move on, or you just want to keep it moving, go to the last segment and give some of the final takeaways? What else you got?
Yeah, I think we used the final segment. We just hit we just run down and hit some players we haven't hit. Miles Bridges. I thought Tre Mann had one of the more interesting, here's my tease, Tre Mann had one of the more interesting stat lines of anyone.
Okay, we'll go to the stat line in just a moment. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
We'll get to the stat line, and we'll give you our final observations in the first preseason game. Still to come, LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, it's here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props with the parlays, even follow the live lines during the games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. More Locked On Hornets ahead. So the box score for Tre Mann reads that he scored, scrolling, 7 points in total. He was 3 of 7 from the field, took 3 3-pointers, made one of them, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, only 1 turnover. It was a team effort with the turnovers. A lot of guys with 1, a couple guys with 2. What other stats did you see from Tre Mann that has you believing it was the most interesting?
5 assists. I mean, he was the leader on the team in assists on a night when really no one could hit shots. So maybe that was why that happened. But I thought the assist that he did have, he threw an absolute rope to Ryan Kalkbrenner, who got fouled on the play, didn't finish it. But he looked good passing the basketball. To me, this was a night when LaMelo Ball was like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to knock some shots down and call it a night. And, maybe we'll see more of the full, complete point guard game from LaMelo Ball as we get deeper into the preseason. But on this night, I thought Tre Mann looked like the best point guard out on the floor. Collin Sexton was doing, I think, what you would expect from Collin Sexton on the offensive end of the floor, which is putting his head down, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line. He had 7 free throw attempts, looking for his own offense. But I thought Tre Mann was trying to set up others in a way that some of these other point guards were not.
Yeah, so some of the things that I think will play out, or things that I expect to see going into the regular season, and maybe some things I don't expect to see. You mentioned Collin Sexton. How about 7 free throws for my guy? He was one of the guys that drew the most fouls in the league last year. That's exactly why you bring him over, is to put the ball on the deck, get in the paint, get to the foul line. And how about making all 7 of his free throw attempts too? Please and thank you, Collin Sexton. Welcome to the club. I think also just in terms of the backcourt players playing point guard, it's interesting to see the pick and roll game, how it looks with Musa and how it looks with Ryan Kalkbrenner. Because with Musa, everything's on fast forward, which is fun. It's hard to defend. With Kalkbrenner, you're going to have to put guys in jail a little bit and wait for Kalkbrenner to catch up and get closer to the basket. And you're going to have to lob. That's where your lobs are going to come from if you're running that with Kalkbrenner. I think with Musa, what I like doing here, Doug, and it came on that flush, is if you give Musa the basketball early on his roll, he's got enough dexterity to where he can put the ball on the floor and actually just go right at you and jump over you with his athleticism. I actually like giving him the ball earlier on those rolls where he even has that shot for the push shot, made one of his push shots in this game off the feed. I think short corner, I think Kon found him off of a rebound, if I'm not mistaken, but we saw him make that. So he has that option on the roll, and he could just one dribble, slam, one dribble, go hard to the basket and try to score. Where with Kalkbrenner, it's, okay, put your guy in jail, wait for Kalkbrenner to roll to the basket, wait, last minute throw a lob, or just manipulate the defender as much as you can. I think pick and roll, it looks very different with each of those guys out there on the floor.
Yes, I thought that Kalkbrenner, particularly with Collin Sexton, you're right, it is slower. Everything's slower with Kalkbrenner. It's more like Walkbrenner. It is not speedy.
Yeah,
but
it
was
not
effective.
Kalkbrenner. They don't call him Kalkbrenner. They do not say that.
That's a fact. They do not call him that. It maybe they do ironically, but I thought it was effective. And again, we have to throw the context in here that he was there was not a lot of side. There was no Chet Holmgren. There was no Hartenstein out there.
Yeah, they were small, man. You're right. OKC was pretty damn small in this one with Jalen Williams being that center, and they had length, but not a whole lot of beefiness.
Okay, but it was effective. Like if it were ineffective against that small lineup, then I would turn your attention to example Tidjane Salaun, who I thought could not take advantage of the lack of size out there, missed about 1,000 shots at the rim. His play was frustrating. It was frightening, considering they took a 6 overall pick on him. I didn't feel that way about Kalkbrenner. Like there's obviously some concerns there that we knew about coming in. And nothing surprised me about what I saw in Kalkbrenner. But he was effective off the roll, and so was Moussa Diabate. And so, yeah, I mean, I think Moussa really, I still think Mason Plumlee is going to start for the most part, but I can definitely see them trusting Moussa to start a game against some lineups that are a little bit smaller because he looked trustworthy.
Yeah, right. And yeah, I think with all of these guys, I view it with Kon too. Okay, so you don't want to give up too much size. Collin Sexton, if Collin Sexton and Kon Knueppel have similar body types, then okay, we don't want to give up too much size. So instead, we'll have Tre Mann come off of the bench. Cool. So now we go with the size guys. But now we also want to bring that gravity to the table, and who's the better shooter of those two? Collin Sexton put up nice percentages in Utah. I don't think anybody thinks on the kind of volume you hope for in the corner, you're going to have Collin Sexton take a lot of those shots. Like that's more of a Kon role, and then he can attack with guys closing out. And so that thus me thinking a lot more about Kon working with that starting five. And with Kalkbrenner and Moussa, it's okay. Who checks off the most boxes? Kalkbrenner brings the most size of any of the fives, but also he's too slow. We did see a lot of that. You can get by with high-level thinking as an anchor, but can you expect crazy high-level thinking out of your anchor in a first-year player? That's probably asking a little too much. So do you just want to go with the reaction from Moussa, who can cover guards at way better at the 5 spot? And rotate fast enough for you. Like, yeah, you're going to have to answer a lot of these questions. Okay, final rapid fire stuff. Yeah, you're right about the shooting for Tidjane. Not great from him. 4 fouls, 2 turnovers, 8 missed shots on the 10 that he took. Yeah, just a bad one. And unfortunate because I thought he looked pretty good in Summer League. There was still bad, but I thought there was still good in Summer League. And here, I don't think you point to a lot and say, yeah, I love what I got from the former first-round pick.
It's game one. You got to chalk it up and hope it improves because I think he did check in. Let's see, what was his first half minutes? His first half minutes were 8 minutes, so almost equal to Ryan Kalkbrenner. I mean, they really spread the minutes out in the first half, but he was one of the names that was called. And I mean, honestly, they need him to play better because who knows how long Grant Williams is going to be out. Like if Grant Williams were healthy right now, you would say, all right, Tidjane, go back to Greensboro, see what you can do. But like they are probably going to need minutes from Tidjane, and to have those minutes be good minutes. Liam McNeely, tough game too, I thought. What did he finish with? 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 of 6 from the field. He did get, he drew a couple of fouls, was able to get inside and cause some damage. But defensively, I don't know where the communications were, if it was him necessarily, but he was caught up in a lot of those situations where like 2 guys go after the ball, 1 guy just floats over in the corner and somebody else has to recover. So, they've got a lot of work to do with the rookies and figuring out how to communicate all of this stuff defensively and when to switch and when not to switch. But Liam was caught on a few of those. Just that confident, and I didn't see that confidence and that same kind of swagger in Summer League. It seemed like, all right, I've hit the NBA and now I've got some adjusting to do. So still confident in Liam, but if we're going sort of like, did they look like a Swarm or a Hornet? I think tonight he looked like he belonged on the Greensboro Swarm.
Yeah, he looked like larva. Tidjane, this is where your patience is going to be tested the most, where we can say when you draft the project, hey guys, it's going to take a while. Just be patient. I think for the most part, we hold on to our patience in those raw prospects rookie seasons. And then you need to still practice it in their second year, but that's when it starts to wane, just because it's human nature. We can say we're going to take care of the dog and feed it and give it food and water. And then 6 months in, I'm kind of tired of that, Dad. I'd rather just go outside and play. Like I'm kind of tired of the patience with these guys because they haven't made a playoff appearance in a decade. Even still, you have other guys to fill that void right now. It's gonna be a minute from Tidjane. You just hope to see improvement. You hope to see improvement. I think you have to remind yourself of that. But games like this, I could see why people are going to be frustrated. Brandon Miller didn't shoot very well. Had a couple shots in the mid range. I did kind of like using his body and rising above.
He did that first attempt.
Nice.
He really like got his shoulder into somebody. It looked good.
Totally agree with that. Sion James got some minutes. Probably the most under discussed rookie.
I liked his minutes. I liked his minutes.
I did too. Anything else? Final thoughts of anybody that we didn't mention that you feel like needs to be mentioned?
I just have no idea what Spencer Dinwiddie was doing in any of his minutes.
Weird minutes.
He was not concerned with transition defense at all. He did have 2 assists, but the shot he just like chucked up a deep 3 for no reason whatsoever. Like it just, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Had some interesting comments at Media Day. But I think if you were to cut one of these players, it's going to be Pat Connaughton is the leader in the clubhouse just because he's the only player you acquired without specifically wanting to acquire them. You signed Spencer Dinwiddie. You could have not, but you did. All that being said, it's still possible that he's the cut. And I guess if you're looking at both Pat Connaughton and Spencer Dinwiddie, they were among the latter guys to come off of the bench. They were very late. You're not cutting any of the rookies that you just drafted. So, yeah, they came off the bench pretty late. Had some interesting comments about Pat from Charles Lee. It sounded a lot like it's a vet that could get cut comments. We just expect him to come in and be a pro. Like, yeah, I kind of know what you're putting down. I'm picking it up. But if Spencer makes these decisions, then maybe he's the guy. I don't know.
Pat looked more engaged. I don't think really either played very well, but like Pat looked more engaged.
Right.
So Hornets lose. We're gonna try.
Okay.
We're gonna put this one. We're gonna stare at those LaMelo Ball 1-legged threes, and we're not gonna look at this final score.
Those are so confident. It's hilarious how confident he is when he shoots those. It doesn't matter. I want to be confident in anything in life and execute it like LaMelo with some of the more wild, like, hey, I'm going to try this in an NBA game and pull it off. It's unbelievable, some of the stuff that he can do. They lost, but we're not panicking over the loss because we have plenty of time. If I was panicking over preseason losses, then I wouldn't be able to function. I just wouldn't be able to survive all of this. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com, Yahoo Sports Daily with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. Go check it out. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.